Welcome to Create Before Consume. Now, here's your host, Fitz.
Dave, we got somebody special here. It is?
Monteasy is in the building, man. Thank you for bringing me in, brother. This is an honor. We go way back, so this is great to finally sit down.
True. I think like the first time we met was like at the What's Good Tampa show, and you kind of got into like how you got started with like making music and everything. But I think we should like break it down for everybody what you actually are doing. So what are you doing, Monteasy?
Well, I am a recording artist, motivational speaker, life coach, podcaster as well. I've been doing these things for a combined maybe almost 20 years now. Add everything up for everything that I've been doing for music, podcasting, life coaching, motivational speaking. So it's been a long journey. But from the last conversation we had when I was at the What's Good Tampa Bay show,
it's like 2 years.
About 2 years, about a year and a half, 2 years, man. I've been my main claim to fame is making theme songs for professional wrestlers. That's been my real big claim to fame. Has been doing that for the past 9 years.
So for people who are not know what that means, you're basically making theme songs for the wrestlers.
Yes.
And they're not like some small wrestlers. They're the real deal, or?
Yes, they are cable television professional wrestlers, AEW, WWE, bigger independents all over the world, the bigger names. I've made music for every single company that's out here. WWE, AEW, I've made music for everybody for these past 9 years, from the smaller companies to the bigger companies. So it's been a great process now, with all this hard work. I've done over 315 of them now.
Damn, that is a big number, 315. So there's also like a little bit more to that, because like obviously huge success on the wrestling side, making those theme songs. Like Take Flight is actually one of my favorites. I actually, on Spotify, hit the like button and everything. Thank you, once in a while, when you have your music downloaded, you hear like the songs that you liked, and then I hear Monteasy, and I was just like, I saw this guy.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for all the support, man. Take Flight.
Yeah, so
Take Flight, man.
That is like also a very interesting song, because like that kind of resembles the whole theme about you. Can you go into that a little bit? Like, what is like the theme of you when you do like songs?
The theme, a lot of times when I'm making these songs, a lot of times think of how would I think if I was the other person when I was writing it.
Yeah.
How would I think if I was that person? I try to put myself inside their shoes. I watch a lot of their matches, or if I have personal relationships with them, I ask them a lot of personal questions. And I take that and I put it into my own spin of how I would do it. So when Sammy Guevara asks for a song like Take Flight, it's just about, hey, this is a young guy, he wants his opportunity, so it's time for him to take that next step. And in order for him to do that, he's kind of got to take flight. Take flight. And when I made that song, my best records are songs I write in 5 minutes. I literally wrote that song in 5-10 minutes, bro. Like, I love it. It has ended up being my most successful record, over 2 million streams, all over the world. It's been, man.
That's a big number. Like,
absolutely.
I think like we should phrase it like this. Like when you go viral on TikTok, for example, you don't really make money with that. And if you do go viral on YouTube, you maybe make some money with it.
Right.
But if you go viral on Spotify, what does that mean?
Well, it kind of depends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you're a creator and you really understand how it works and breaking down the numbers, you get some money. But it's a lot of your money when it comes to that, like Spotify.
Yeah.
Spotify uploads, from a statistic that just came out, is uploading over 125,000 songs a day. So really, you have to find a way to make people care, because there's so many artists performing music now, and it's oversaturated. So now you have to find a way to make people care. Yeah. So when you told me that you listened to the record, that means a lot to me, because people have a choice on what they want to listen to. Really, now more than ever, with everybody doing and it being so competitive. So the real point of what I try to do is I try to find ways when I make these songs to make it stick. You have to find a way to make these records stick with people.
Gotcha.
And Take Flight, for example. has been one of the ones that struck gold, that sticks with people. And it also helps too that it's played in worldwide arenas around the world at AEW.
Yeah.
But it's also too making people care about what you're doing as an artist. So when you're uploading it to Spotify, it's not just uploading it, it's finding a way to get people to invest in it. And that's where content like this comes in. Talking about the songs, talking about the records, doing behind the scenes of the record, lyric videos, doing different things so you perform in the record. The more that you care about the song and you're doing it, the more people are going to invest in what you're doing.
True. For me, like when I listened to the song, I was like, oh, this is a very motivational song, you know? And I dig that. So that is like a very broad genre, you could say, you know? So everybody could listen to it. Everybody gets then in the mood like, let's hustle, let's do stuff, you know? And this was like one of the things that I noticed when we had the podcast on the What's Good Tampa show. You're really about like putting in the work, you know? Like you mentioned your story. I think we should go over your story because like, how did you get started in the music? What holds you back? And what was the process of that? Because like new people.
Right. So, you know, my journey in music, I was not the guy that was like raised into music by like a famous, like my uncle was a guitarist or my mom, you know what I mean, was a musician. Really, I had to study it. My grandmother used to play music in the house when I was a kid. My grandmother, my mother, hip hop, R&B, James Brown, Young, Rakim, all the great legends and stuff, TLC, R&B. So really, it just stuck with me. When I started it, I was 15 years old. It was something I just picked up. You know, something I just picked up and I wanted to do. I had mentors that helped me. You know what I mean? My granddad was the first person that got me really involved in music. So he always was on me and introducing me to people. And I just worked at it. I was one of them guys that had to work at getting good at it. It was in my spirit, but it wasn't something where I was like in music class or anything. I just worked at it. I worked at it. I would get, you know, like you have your notebook, that old school writing a composition notebook.
Yeah.
And listen to songs. And I would just listen to songs from artists that I loved each and every day. Different genres of people, from Metallica to 50 Cent to Dave Matthews Band to, my range is all over the place. And even though people might not hear it, they might not think of it on the hip hop side, but my motivations come from different spirits, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
You know, whether it's Alice in Chains to, you know, it could be Alice in Chains to Aretha Franklin to, you know, just different things. And my music knowledge and my music feeling comes from listening to different people. I never was just stuck on one different genre because I feel like that hinders you as an artist and your creativity. So I always listen to different things. That helped me with my music. So it's been a long process with it, writing rhymes each and every day, getting better, listening to music, working with rock guitars, working with country artists, working with different things, and just in a hip hop way, how can I blend with them, because it challenges you creatively to do things in different ways. So that's been my journey over these past almost 20 years.
But how did you get into the wrestling? Because that is a very niche thing, kind of, if you would say so. I don't know. Like, it's not like, oh, you go to school and like, oh yeah, now I'm doing like wrestling songs. What is like the transition? What made you go into that, or how did you got into that?
So in 2014, I was my son was just born. Actually, not just born, a couple years old. 3 years old. And to give you the backstory, his mom was on his way to drop him off to me. She had to go to work. So one day, I'm sitting there watching the WWE Network, and I'm watching this pay-per-view, and there's this guy there named Roman Reigns, who's right now the current champion, one of the greatest of all time now. But back then, he was just getting started. So I randomly said, I'm going to write a song about this dude.
Okay.
Randomly. This was not something that was just planned. I think it was just something
no intentions
from the Lord above, just gave me the spirit to do it. Then, you know, what I did was I just randomly wrote a song. I went out, I put it out on all platforms, went to the studio. I didn't have the money at the time. My grandmother gave me the studio money. She said, hey, go do it. And lo and behold, it went viral. It went everywhere. That was like 2014, was like the very beginning of viral and what that meant. Not as much now, but back then it went everywhere. I got hit up by everybody. So that song was there. I was overwhelmed because I was just putting music out. I was doing a little something, you know, but then when that happened, it hit like wildfire. So me, sitting back and knowing how I hustle and how I think, I said, you know what? I'm going to do this for everybody.
Damn.
So, you know, I said, but...
So you immediately jumped on it.
But what I did was, this is what I did. And I'm going to give, you know, the creators a nugget here. What I did was, I went to Maryland.
Yeah.
And my friend of mine, Bret Hart, is my favorite wrestler of all time. I went to go meet Bret Hart. There was a guy there. Shout out to my man Drolix. He was a wrestler. He was their heavyweight champion at the time.
Yeah.
In Maryland at MCW. Shout out to MCW. And I just randomly, my manager was like, "Hey, make a song about him." So I ran like a guy wrestling for the company, Maryland Championship Wrestling. I made a song about him, and then once that happened, and I randomly just came up with the song and the idea.
Yeah.
It spread like wildfire. So once I did that, my name started happening. So I started making songs for each and everybody that I could. And truthfully, word of mouth is still the strongest promotion, because if I could look at something virally, and I can show you on your phone.
Yeah.
But if I verbally tell you something to check it out, and it's coming from me,
it hits different.
It hits different than me just sending you a link or me telling you, "Hey, check out this song on Instagram," or something that you just click viral and you could just keep scrolling. Now, if somebody's calling you or telling you or meeting with you and telling you, "Hey, yo, this guy's it," or "This person, check this out," it's the easiest way to still have retention with your fans. So,
yeah. So I have a couple things that are on my mind right now, because first off, like the moment you go viral and it spreads like wildfire, and obviously it's probably an insane feeling, like, dang, I created this, now I'm like, everything is flooding at you, and you're like, how do you monetize? What do you do? What was your thought? What to do? You're just like, okay, I do now more, or do I get a manager? Because I hear a manager. Did you already had a manager? Or like that's a weird concept. Like, let's say there's a creator out there making a viral video, a viral song, whatever it is. What should they do?
My suggestion is a quotation manager sounds good, but you want to give them something to be able to manage. Like it's good to have somebody representing you when you get to that point. My suggestion to artists is, represent yourself until you can find someone that has something to manage. Learn how to manage your own career first. Then when you get a manager, have something for them to manage, because it's easier for them to say, "Oh, I'm a manager," but they don't. If you don't have any leverage and you don't know how to do it, there's no point of even having them, because what are you going to pay them 20% of? You don't have anything for them to manage or anything to do, and the manager isn't responsible for your career. You're responsible for your career. Your moves, they're there to help you, and they're going to do certain things that they can do to help your brand, but you got to still put in the work. So my suggestion at that time, my manager was one of my best friends.
Gotcha.
And he's a very good communicator, so he really helped liaison the whole situation, and that's still one of my best friends to this day. But also too, looking back at it, I made the right move then, but I eventually had to take some of these moves myself and do it myself, because it's different than when he's saying it and then when they can directly speak to you. At least when you're getting started and they can get like a personal relationship with you, they can hit you up. So I would say, get a manager or anything like that when you really have something for them to manage, when you have other opportunities. Instead of saying, "Oh, I got this manager," and they don't have any credentials, you don't know, and nothing wrong with you guys starting together, but you got to have leverage in order to be able to have something for them to manage. Otherwise, it just sounds good.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, what I kind of see on social media is like, okay, somebody blows up and somebody is like, "Oh, I want to be the manager," and I'm gonna sign them basically up, and then I read all the benefits, and their goal is like, "Oh, how many can I sign up?" And then it's like, it's not really a nice move to do, and they don't provide any value. And it's kind of the same thing with labels, and nowadays there's like kind of a trend of like going independent. You don't need them, you can do everything yourself. Like, you hear with like both sides. What is your take on that?
Good question. And I love this kind of conversation here. I don't get to have this conversation as much. I love it. I think that, truthfully, if you're independent or if you're going with a label, you have to pick what you want to do, what works for you, and what your strengths are. And I'll give you either or.
Gotcha.
Most creators that I know, a lot of them just want to focus on the art.
Gotcha.
So when you are independent, it becomes a full 100% business. You have to not only learn about the streaming platforms, you have to learn how to update. You got to learn about your merchandise. You got to learn about advertising. You got to learn about how to register your music the right way. And all this stuff, when you're independent, you got to learn how to do yourself until you have a team that's able to help you. With a major, a lot of times, if you sign those contracts, it's a loan, it's in advance, a lot of times for certain artists, but they handle all that for you. And then, the funny thing is about being label or independent, like I tell any artist this, you don't know what's going to stick with the people. There might be a song you put out that you just did having fun randomly that blows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then there might be something that you're putting $500 behind in ads and it's not sticking with the people. There's really, if we had all the answers, the record labels would be 100% right 100% of the time, but they're not, because you can't gravitate what sticks with the people. You might have a great song that you might have spent 3 months on that you love, but then you had that one song you just in there BSing one day and that song just takes off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can. As a video creator, you edit a video for like 20, 30, 50 hours, and then the video that you just randomly hit record, that goes viral. But the video you edit for hours, nothing.
Absolutely. And I think that's what comes into with understanding what you want. You know what I mean? If you, a lot of guys that want to be more famous, that wants to have the cosign, because when you sign with those labels, they give you access to certain things that is kind of harder when you're independent. Like they can get you certain interviews, platforms, brands, sponsors, stuff like that when you sign with those labels, you can get it. But when you're independent, you're kind of competing with them. And certain things you have to build relationships to get. It might take you a little longer, but at the same time, you also get to have more control about what you do and what you're doing. And I think that you have to be honest with yourself. If you're going to be independent, build you a team and have them do certain things so you can focus just on the art. I've gotten to a point where I'm managing my own, I'm doing my own career, but I'm also advising and supporting other artists as well. So I'm kind of wearing both hats. I have my own career to manage, but I'm also helping develop talent for other people now. So it's a blend of both, and understanding, knowing what your strengths and your weaknesses are and what you're doing and what you want. Like me, I'm more of an independent guy. It's a lot of work, but I rather do it myself because I don't, too many hands could sometimes be in the pot, and I'd rather do it organically. Yeah. I've had meetings with label heads, since 2012. I've talked to a bunch of labels, independents, majors, and a lot of people just saying now, we're going to sign you once you get your own wave going. Once you get your own, basically,
you made it. You don't need anything.
Let's add to what you do and save money instead of just taking you those days of old days. You heard the bands, they signed a band,
and then
you guys. They send you on tour. They send you overseas to build a fan base. There's talent development. There's a road manager, A&R manager to help develop the band. Then the band drops a song and it comes to the U.S. It hits radio. That's not those days no more. Your radio is this now.
Yeah.
This is your radio.
How you feel about that, actually? Because that is a weird thing. I had I Am Random Chance, and he's doing daily videos. He makes reels on TikToks, blew up, but he puts an insane amount of work into something that is not even his art. You could say it is an art as well, making videos about your music, but wouldn't you rather do only music? How you deal with social media? What is your take on that? Because it's a weird one, you know what I mean?
I think as with the older I get in life, the more I understand that everything's balanced.
Okay.
So what might work for me might not work for the next artist or creator. Some people I see, some artists I know are very smart enough to use TikTok.
Yeah.
And they make it a brand, and they're able to make a career out of that and then transfer it to their Instagram, Facebook, things of that nature. Some people as creators do more with Instagram. They do great with that. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. People have different ways and methods. And then you have those certain bands. I know personally 2 rappers that barely be on it. They have 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
They have 500 TikTok followers. And their main of communication is emailing their fans.
Old school
emailing, and they have 2,000 emails, and every time they do a show in their area, they can guarantee at least 500 people show up, and they go on tour, but they're not social media savvy. So it all depends on what you're looking for. I balance a little bit of everything. I do emails, I do Instagram. I'm just getting into TikTok, but once you gravitate and you're able to gravitate with people, you're able to fully understand what works for you. So for me, social media is a great tool. I kind of need it for what I'm doing, especially with the awareness in wrestling. But I also don't rely on it. I more have a personal relationship with my wrestling fans, so they can contact me, they can hit me up. I'm very approachable. You know what I mean? So it shows that if I'm around, and that's kind of my kind of star. Everybody's a different kind of star. You know what I mean? You have the guys who are the Michael Jacksons, the Princes of the world, who kind of stoic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you have the other kind of celebrity, the common man star, where like they're stars, but you can approach them, talk to them after the show, you can hang with them. You know what I mean? A lot of those, that's more my lane. You know what I mean?
I love that. That's like the good people that's staying true to themselves.
Absolutely.
Because it can go really south when you like get that viral hit and like, oh, I'm too good now for you. And then you're just realizing, you get an ego, you get money, and then like, oh, now nothing sticks with the people, like you said. And like, now you're not anymore viral. Now you're not getting the views. And then it's like, now you're just like a terrible person, And some people, they should not be famous. But I like the people like you where when they get like a wave, it's like, no, they're honest to themselves,
Absolutely. I think that the number one thing with people now, this isn't 1996 no more. This isn't, excuse me.
No worries.
This isn't like the Beatles in the 60s where people are coming off the plane and everybody's chasing Paul McCartney and John Lennon. Like those days are kind of done. Nowadays, everybody has to, back then, your talent could be the reason why people rock with you. Now, people need a reason. With so much content now and so much short scene content and people scrolling and so much competition out there, people need a reason to rock with you. So in order for that to happen, you need to be presentable. You need to communicate with your fans, retweet them, repost what they're doing, show love to them because you can still balance your privacy and still balance you could still balance your brand, but you also need to be one with the people. You need to be relatable to people. People got to have a reason now to rock with you. All the music, like I said, the 100,000 songs that are being uploaded each and every day, people have to have a reason to rock with you. And the one thing I'll tell creators is you have to learn how to regain and keep retention.
Yeah.
Keep them interested in what you're doing. You don't have to post every five hours. You don't have to do that. But
that's a big one too, because people struggle with that.
Right. So if you can balance out how to not oversaturate yourself, but not be forgotten, that's it. You have to balance it. And a lot of people struggle with either or. Sometimes they're gone too long and then the fans forget. Or sometimes they're doing too much. And it's like, oh man, it's almost like overload to your fans. You have to give them a chance to dissect what you're doing while learning to be consistent as well.
Yeah. Dang, that's powerful. I really love that because that's one of the biggest issues, like in any field, let's say you want to be a baker and you make baking content, whatever, how often can you post? How often should you post? And then you see like the other person, your competitor or friend, or the person you want to be, and he inspires you. He posts so damn much, and you're like, I need to do more, and you burn out, and keeping that balance and being like healthy with like social media, it's like so hard.
Yeah, man. I think that it's figuring out not only what works for you, but what works for your fan base. You have to be very smart to see what they're engaging. If my videos outside of my wrestling stuff, if this stuff that me and you do when we post this ends up being what people want, then we could do more of it. You know what I mean? And just keep doing the content together because that's what they're interested in seeing in what Fitz and Monteasy are talking about.
Yeah.
Or finding, what works for your fan base. And you also, too, I tell creators all the time, you want to be able to do many different things, but you don't want to confuse them as well.
That's a big one, too. Can we go into that, actually? Because, like, some people, they have a lot of hobbies, a person is way deeper than just like the wrestling or just than the music. There's probably like plenty of hobbies that you have that nobody knows about, so that is like also like very important to like what do you share and what you don't share, and do you have a strategy about that?
I think that funny you say that. I think that you have to ease your fans into things while still being consistent, dropping content. If you're in the studio one week and then you want to be Steve Irwin chasing animals the next week, you're going to kind of confuse people.
Yeah.
Talk to people. I say this, engage people in what you want to do. Make a post. Hey guys, I want to do stuff with animals. So alongside with my music content, every once in a while, I'm gonna post myself going to check out go fishing.
Yeah.
I'm going to do fishing. So I want you guys to rock with me. And this for you guys that rock with me, I'm going to be putting out this content for when I go fishing. I'm still going to give you guys your music. You have to explain to them what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if you just post, oh man, check out this new fishing thing on my YouTube channel, people are like,
what's going on?
I'm here to watch you. I'm here to watch you write these songs about Cinderella. Like, why now you're fishing? And then you give them an opportunity if they want to stick with that content, or if they want to stay just for when you're songwriting or making reels or whatever about different things, TikTok dances. And then next week you want to play hockey. You have to slowly engage your people in there, and then they'll stick with you. Oh, I like that when you play hockey. This is dope. I'm not into hockey, but the fact that you do it, they'll follow you if you're doing it. You know what I mean? If you make it cool enough, they'll stick with you and they'll rock with you. But you just can't be climbing Mount Everest one week, then the next week you run to race cars, and then the next week, well, if you're going to do that, market it that way to where you just do wild, adventurous stuff, and you market it to make the people follow you. And then next week, if you are cutting trees, they know that it's going to be that. But if you're just doing random things, they're not going to know what to stick with you for. So you have to ease your audience into what you're doing, and then you can just market it from there, sell merchandise, do different things. It makes it easier because they can follow your journey.
Yeah. So on that note, though, what is Monteasy doing in the meantime when he's not doing the wrestling music thing? Any cool hobbies that nobody knows about?
Oh, great question. I am a big fan of watching why rock bands don't stay together. I love that kind of stuff. I watch like behind this documentaries of these bands that I might not ever heard of, and I'm like, what kept them together? What broke them apart? A lot of times say the ego, money, or women. 9 of the times it's one of those three. But or drugs or stuff, their personal demons. But I just like to watch those kind of things because it teaches me how to have relationships with people. I like to watch those things. I also am very, very big into watching like chiropractic videos. I don't know why I can watch a chiropractic video.
Is it for the cracking?
I think so. I think it's the relaxing and like the cracking of people. I like to watch people that come in and they're all messed up, and then when they leave, just the relief on their body, especially the chiropractors that know what they're doing. Yeah, it like I'm like a sucker for that too. I also like to watch dog chiropractic videos, like dogs getting chiropractic.
That's a thing.
just weird, just different things. I also am into. There's this guy, I think they're called the Outdoor Boys or something. I like to watch this guy on YouTube. Yeah. He's a survivalist. He will take the most minimal things and go camping. I think he was in the army or something. Shout out to the Outdoor Boys. I think that's their name. And he'll just have like a tent and literally make sticks. Have sticks and make like a
survival kit
with the most minimal stuff possible. He'll find a hole and dig a hole and make survival and sleep for the night. Make sticks and a fire and will literally sleep like under like a rock cabin and stuff, like just random stuff out in the air. Dude is fire. So I watch different things on survival, rock bands. So those are kind of things that I'm into when I'm watching, not dealing with wrestling on my downtime.
Yeah. So on that note, though, like obviously that is like a very, very big part in your career, like being like with other musicians, being in a studio, or like maybe have somebody rapping with you or whatever it is, and that is a big thing where so you do music, and I saw you're also doing a podcast and you're doing that motivational thing. So what is your connection with like the what is it, Swerecity podcast? And what I don't know anything about that. So I just saw that and I'm like, damn, you have a really big podcast there. And I think there's co-hosts too, or because I did not do a deep dive. And how is the relationship in that? And so can you speak out of like personal experience a little bit, or give some advice? Yes.
So Swerecity podcast is with my brother. Yeah. He's AEW wrestler. This is my brother. His name is Swerve Strickland. We've known each other since 2015. We started working together 2017. Yeah. We basically built a podcast together from scratch on 2 beanbags. Yeah. I booked him for an interview one time. He came to my recording studio and we sat down. We did an interview.
Yeah.
I booked him for an interview, and the interview went very, very well, went great. So he asked me to do a podcast with him.
Yeah.
So he didn't know me very well. I didn't know him very well. He just asked me for the opportunity. And, you know, one very important thing I want to give a nugget here, which I want to say. The first thing he said to me was that you're my partner.
Yeah.
And he was the bigger brand. And that right there, I said, okay, I see what that respect. Not like, this is my podcast, you know what I mean? You just joined, no, you're my partner. And that said a lot to me. That really was important to me. That did a lot for my morale, and it really gave me the incentive. I was in St. Pete now, like we are now.
Yeah.
And I would go to Orlando, and every show we would do it, I would be there with him. And we've been doing this now for 6 years. We've had some of the biggest stars in the world in wrestling and entertainment on our show for the past 6 years. We've been doing this nonstop. We've been rolling together. We do this together. We built our team. Shout out to Siren X, Mike. We've built this whole team of video guys, editors, and we've been doing this. We've gone through different sets. We've been to WWE. We've been to AEW, and we've really, really put our foots in this podcasting thing together. I've learned a lot from him. He's learned a lot from me, and we're really, I like to call ourselves, we're really like outcasts, Andre 3000 and Big Boy of wrestling. We really are. We're, you know, what his strengths are, you know what I mean, could be my weaknesses, and my strengths his weakness, but we like peanut butter and jelly with everything.
I love it.
So, you know, we've traveled all over the world. You know what I mean? We've traveled all over the world doing this. We've traveled to many different states podcasting. And the main thing I tell everybody in content is to be consistent. Find ways to be consistent. It's tough. You might think that those 2 views people are watching, but you have to build. You can't stop, because you never know. You know, they say that when it comes to content, 85% of the people, when they do surveys, they don't make it because they quit. They stop. That other 15% ends up getting some kind of traction because they find a way to keep going. They find universal ways to keep pushing. Everybody wants to podcast now, but not everybody is consistent on how to do it. Okay, yes, there's a lot of saturation, but how can you find a way to make your content different? And that's what we did with Swerecity podcast. You know, we started together, we built the whole thing together, we put our resources together, and now 6 years in, we're interviewing some of the top people in the world, but we never stopped. We never stopped. We always keep pushing, and we always push each other. And then I got him into making music. So
that's nice.
I got him into making music, and he put me on in the wrestling on the podcast world. So really, we did a great barter trade with each other as brothers, and built something that is very great. Now he's, to me the best wrestling rapper to ever do it. So
love it.
It's great to say, you know, I was an inspiration to him, he was an inspiration to me, and we built this together.
Oh, that's dope. So that is also like the thing what I really liked about the podcast. First off, it's really successful because like you said, big people on there, you know.
Thank you.
It's very true. It's very honest. It's not like super staged and like super polished. And it's like, no, this is like real people doing real things. And I'm like, dang, some of the guests are like really insanely viral in the wrestling area. And I'm like, okay, you got the big stars up there. But how do you work with a person on a scale of 6 years? Because like, let's say you're in a band, like you mentioned, you know, like, because people have different ambitions, and everybody's like, they have an ego. And when people have an ego, that usually becomes a problem. Then they're like, I want to be the whole thing, you know, and then like so on.
Great question. Good God, nobody asked me this. Dude, you're great, bro.
You're great.
Okay, man. First of all, I'm just, woo, I love this.
Woo, okay. Let's get it going.
All right, listen. First thing, you have to be able to the content and the relationship is going to be better when you like each other. Yeah. The content's always going to be better. I think that when it's naturally, you two naturally rock with each other. Yeah. Because you have to, kind of vibe. 85% of communication is nonverbal. So you have to be able to kind of read each other, know how each other moves. You have to rock with each other. Yeah. Me and him get on the phone and we talk, like maybe every other day. We talk for like an hour. Yeah. About anything. Either we are on the video games talking or we just talk about life, business, whatever. We are family. We still do this to this day to keep that connection. Also, too, my brother's on television. Yeah. My brother's a worldwide star. It's that understanding that different blessings come to different people. He gets opportunities because of his brand.
Yeah.
And you have to, me even as his brother and his best friend, I'm not here to block your blessings.
Yeah.
With his ambitions, whatever he wants to do, I'm not going to block that. You know what I mean? If there's anything he asks my opinion for or I ask him for, we give it to each other. If not, we rock with each other and I'll let him have his ambitions because his blessings and his calling is his calling. I think us as people, when you come to bands, like we was talking about and working with people, it ends up being about control and ego and I did this and I did that and you want this and you want that.
It's already sour.
Before we did anything, I made a pact with him. I said, brother, no matter how big this gets, I will never have an ego. We're never going to argue about no money.
Yeah.
And no woman is ever going to break this up. So we made that pact. And that's how we've been able to do this because we have the understanding to keep the main thing the main thing. And we've never had an argument. You know what I mean? We've never went back and forth. Hey, man, if that's what you want to do creatively, my brother, I support you. You know what I mean? If you need me here or if you need me to make anything, adjustments or anything, I'm here. Like when he started making music in the studio and I was coaching him, any song he wanted to make, I didn't say I don't want to do it.
Love it.
I said, go ahead and do it, bro. Because you never know. If I'm here blocking and saying, I don't like this, that's in your spirit for what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I can't see how your vision is coming through your spirit with music. So the last thing I'm going to tell you as an artist, just because I don't see that painting, I'm not going to tell you, no, don't do that painting. Do what you feel. And then if we got to make adjustments later, we can do that. But do what you feel. Get that canvas out because that's about relationships. Relationships is like a friendship. It's 50-50. You know what I mean? Some days it's going to be 80-20 if I'm feeling down, he's feeling down. And that's the understanding. But that's also, too, of being able to communicate with another grown man, being transparent, being honest, also having that love for each other, but learning when to get out the way. Because he never gets in my way of my blessings, I don't get in the way of his. And I think that truly what keeps us together, especially as creatives. Because that's what breaks up as creatives is people have creative differences. Essentially,
I want to make this music versus that. And
right. When you could easily just blend them. Sometimes you have to just go with the flow with certain things. And your idea just doesn't have to be what's made. Sometimes you go with the flow. You work as a team. And then when I put my input, you feel more involved. If I ask you, hey, how do you feel about this? And then you give me your opinion. I feel more involved in the process. Yeah. So it's not like a dictatorship. And one thing we know about men, we're lions. We're
that's
lions.
very true.
We're territorial. We're lions. You know what I mean? And we can want things a certain way because we're all defending our own pride in a sense, in like the jungle. So how do you make that work? You cohabitate about the jungle. Okay, I'm going to do this. You could do this. Then we feel like we have a piece of this together. And there's no control. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, this is deep because some people don't really know how far that spreads, that like the lines, you know, like everybody's like competing over, let's say videographers, like I am in St. Pete, you know, and there are so many videographers in St. Pete. Then people getting booked, not getting booked. And I'm like, I'm better than him and I'm not. And it's like, you know, and everybody's like, I'm the best, you know, and it's like, so much ego can hurt, you know, and communication can be like the one thing that changes everything.
Yeah, man. I think that you have to be able to communicate. And also, too, it's learning how to have relationships with people.
True.
And, you know, it's not always going to be great. It's not always going to be roses. But you can talk and you can communicate about everything to see what can make things better. And also, too, we got together at a very, very later point of our lives. So we was already in our late 20s, early 30s when we met. Yeah. So we already been through the ego stage, you know what I mean? The
kid stuff, you know, the drama.
The drama. Like early, I told him if we would have met in our early 20s, it might not have worked, bro. Because I was not who I am now. I was very, very, you know, you go through those arrogant stages. Not saying I wasn't brash and
I mean, man.
But men, you know what I mean? And you're more testosterone built in that stage. Then when you get older, you're like, I really got to learn how to work with people. I really have to learn to get out of my own way. And the best way you can do that, and everybody's like, oh, how'd you get this far? You build a team, and not only do you build a team, you notice that it's like basketball. I don't have to score 40 a night.
Yeah.
I could do 20 and pass the ball, and we could still win. Like, I want to win a championship. I don't care what role I have to play. If I have to take over the ball and score, I will. If I have to pass and play defense and grab rebounds, that's what I'm going to do. Like, what is it going to take for the victory? And I think that's what gets lost amongst us as people, not only men, but as people, men, women. It's the victory. And sometimes when you want to get the win, you have to play different roles for different situations.
I love that. So we had a quick break, but here we are again. And we were left off by like egos, men working together and against each other. And now it's just like, you met some people that you worked really well with, and I think like it was Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do a lot with him. So what was the last song that you made with him?
So it was first we did Take Flight, which was debuted as the one of the first theme songs ever for AEW wrestling in 2019. Then we just recently shot a music video for the song called Energy. Second theme song that I made for him. More of a hard rock, hip hop, Rage Against the Machine type.
Ooh, I love it.
Type feel. You know what I mean? I love Rage. So Rage Against the Machine, Cypress Hill type.
That's a good mix.
Type blend. You know what I mean? Like that blend of hip hop and hard rock. So this is really why I was talking about the things earlier about my influences, about like the hard rock, the Metallicas, the Alice in Chains came into this. So I was like, hey, let's balance this out. So we recently just shot a music video called Energy. Shout out to Sammy for coming through for the video. His wife, Tay Guevara, the band Vertebreaker. They produced by Ryan Eni Beats. And my guys, the home team, Siren and Alex, they X Visuals. They shot and edited the video. Shout out to my man Nick, dope pick by Nick for the photography. I want to shout everybody out. The video was a lot of fun, man. This is one of the very great records. And the last thing I will say, in relation to it, right?
Yeah. A
lot of artists get successful with one song.
Yeah.
And then they kind of sit on it. And the smart ones and the great ones reinvent themselves and don't rest on that one thing. Yes, Take Flight is my most successful song I've ever had.
Yeah.
But I'm the kind of person where I want to switch gears. You're never going to know what's coming.
Exactly.
So this wasn't announced. We just did it. You know what I mean? Let's switch it. And Take Flight, was a top 200 Billboard charting song on Apple Music.
Damn.
In Canada. It hit top 200.
That's good.
And it hit like number 5 in the Netherlands on hip hop. In Ireland, it hit like number 3. So it was very successful.
Yeah.
But after 3 years, you have to switch gears. You have to give them something else. Now everybody's like, "Oh, why didn't he keep the song?" No, because I don't want you to know what I'm doing, and I don't want it to be like, "Oh, I'm just resting on this." No, we're gonna switch it up.
Yeah.
Let's switch it up. Let's give them another 3 years of something else.
Yeah.
Let's give them something else. You know what I mean? And the video was a lot of fun on all distributed platforms now. Make sure you check out the video. It's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing the video.
So what's the theme, though, if I can ask? I hear energy. Is it, again, motivational? Or what?
It's motivational. Yes, it is motivational, but it's edgier.
Edgier? Okay.
Take Flight sounds like it could be in a nightclub.
Yeah.
Energy sounds like it could be at like a hard rock festival, like a live festival.
Yeah.
Like a headbanging like festival. Like if you was that's what it. I wanted it to be totally different. Sammy wanted something edgier.
Gotcha.
And I wanted to be able to blend that world of, okay, how can I'm a huge hard rock fan. How can I blend mine with my hip hop and make this edgier? You know what I mean? I'll play it for you here after this. But
yeah,
it's great to be able to be well diverse, as I said, because some people get stuck into one sound. I never want to get stuck into one sound because there's a whole worldwide of different fans and audiences that could do that. And it also helps your not only your paycheck, but it also helps your catalog when you can do different things because you can work with different people and go to different audiences.
Yeah, so oh God, now I have, again, so many questions. And I was like, okay, let's segue. But I'm like, no. I don't know if I can ask that. But if you do a song or collab with somebody else, are you backed by a label or are you independent? How do you maneuver that? How do you cut the deal? And what is like a good mindset about like cutting the deal about like a song, for example? Because it could go viral or it could be not go viral. You never know, So what is your approach, if I can ask?
I believe that, I will say this, you have to have a personal relationship with people.
Yeah.
When it comes to theme songwriting, any kind of music, the better relationship you have with people and what you want to do in that kind of regard, the better that it's going to be. I'm 100% independent.
Yeah.
Everything I'm doing, like they said, and this is not only a lot of faith, but it's relationships. It's relationships. It's building relationships with people. And when people have that trust in you, you get opportunities like this. True. But you have to build that trust within people. Somebody either co-signs you, puts you in position, or 90% of it is people have to see you working.
Yeah.
You can sit here and I can sit here and say, oh, I've been doing wrestling music 9 years. Okay, that's great. But eventually you're introducing yourself to a new fan base every day, and you have to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
Each and every day. Like the saying goes, and people, if your car breaks down, right, God forbid, hopefully it doesn't for nobody, but I'm just using an example. Your car breaks down on the interstate, and you push the car to the side of the road, and you just hold your thumb out. People are just going to kind of more than likely drive by you. Yeah. But if your car is breaking down, it's on neutral, and you start pushing the car, either you're in the driver's seat or somebody, you're pushing it. 95% of the time, one person's going to go over there and help you push it to the side of the road, because people are going to help you if you're helping yourself. True. And that's what I said about making music for people. You have to be, whether theme songs or anything in relation, you have to build relationships with people. Use your ideas, be creative, and find different ways to do it. The rapper Too Short had a great idea when he was younger. Yeah. He started making birthday songs for people.
Yeah, that's lovely.
80s. So he made songs for everybody in the neighborhood. Yeah. It's, what do you think? What happens? This person made a song for me. Word of mouth. Next thing you know, he's making songs for the whole city, then the state. Then it builds his name, and he can put out other content. But see, that was a creative way that he did it. Okay, let me do birthday songs for you. And he started in his neighborhood, down the block, and it grew to the whole damn state. Yeah. So you have to be very creative and witty on how you do these things. It's possible. You just have to think outside the box.
Yeah. You said actually something that I really liked with the guy who's like pushing the car, and it's different than when you just stand there and you basically gave up on yourself. And then there's obviously the one guy that you mentioned where it's like, you gotta push the car, so that people see you have the drive, you want to do this. It's not like, oh, I'm just standing here and I hope something happens, And I think that's a very powerful thing about like believing in yourself and doing the thing. So how does that apply? Let's say you're a musician. What does that entail? You just like go out, do the thing for yourself, for other people, or is there like other things like that you can do?
Great question. My first answer and thought that comes up when people ask me that, and other artists, is, what are you doing it for? What do you want to do it for? You know what I mean? What is it that you're feeling when it comes to this? Theme songs, making music, or whatever. And how can you watch what everybody else is doing and then do something different? The thing that helped, that has gotten me, Swerve, my whole team, and when everybody's going this way, I will go this way every single time. Now, I can't explain to you what this way is. Yeah. I'm just watching what other people are doing, and I'm going to find a way to be different. But I'm also, what got me to this point is that I outwork people. Yeah. I don't have an ego. What I did 7 years ago was 7 years ago. Now I have to find a way to outwork. I'm going to build relationships. I'm going to outwork. I'm going to stay in the studio. I'm going to keep putting songs out. You know what I mean? Like, remember, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but I know you obviously know who Lil Wayne is.
Yeah, of course.
But there was a time when Lil Wayne was on everything. He was on every song. I mean, this dude was on everything. So I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be on everything. I'd rather have you tired of me than you saying I'm not doing enough.
That's a good spirit.
I'd rather have to ask for an apology than for me to have to ask you. I'd rather do it and then you tell me I did it wrong than me sitting back waiting for you to tell me to do it. That's how I treat music. Yeah. I'm going to just do it. A lot of my friends I work with like, man, you move like a label. You move quick. Let me tell you something right now. What's today's date? I'm looking at my phone right now. It is May 30th, 2023. I have all my next wrestling music content already recorded up to next year.
Damn. What is the song that you're the most excited about? Because obviously you drop now Energy it is?
Yes.
Yeah. But besides that, what are the big songs and you basically are like very excited about?
Ooh.
Or concepts. Like it could be also that. Because like I'm always like kind of curious, what is the vision? What is like what makes you tick, you know? What gets you excited?
Absolutely. Great questions, by the way. So I have a song called Pressure.
Okay.
Excuse me. It's already out on all platforms now, but I shot the video with, his name is Music Soul Child. He's a multi-platinum R&B artist.
Yeah.
He is one of the most successful R&B artists, rhythm and blues artists of all time.
Yep.
And we just shot a music video together. And that is the biggest cosign I've ever had. This guy is working with me. You know, he believes in the vision. And he's under his rap alias, The Hustle. So
that's a good name.
he's literally co-signed me, and you know put that together. Shout out to Alex too for the awesome songwriting on the record too. For him to co-sign me, somebody who I've always been inspired by, one of the people I was listening to as a teenager, for him to say, hey, I co-sign you and what you're doing, I see your movement, keep working, that means everything to me. So that music video features AEW wrestler Marina Shafir. Shout out to Siren and X once again for the great director and editing work. I'm also I have my album Erica's Son 2, which is my regular, not wrestling stuff, my regular album. That's that I'm working on. That's dropping July 23rd. That I'm working on, and you know there's 15 songs on that, so I'm pushing that record. That Pressure song is on that album. You know, shout out to all the producers, shout out to my bro Swerve, Rich Boy, all the great people that's on that project. So I'm really, really excited about that project. I have a lot of wrestling music already, like I said, already recorded up to a year. I have a lot of theme songs for other things outside of wrestling that I've recorded. I recently did one for the XFL, Orlando Guardians football team. Shout out to The Rock and everybody on that side for the love, and XFL for the love on that. I also am working on different theme songs for different companies, basketball, different sports. So I'm branching out and doing
new things,
many different sports. You know what I mean? Like one thing as a creator is you want to give them content that they are used to, but you also want to be able to reinvent as well. You want to be able to balance it. You want to give them that. You want to give them, like, for example, a lot of artists will make a song that works, and then they'll make everything with that same sound. That sounds just like it. You can't do that. Give them something, but also give them something different too. Let them see that there's growth in what you're doing. Fans are rather you know what I mean? Like,
that actually strikes like a nerve. You know, everybody knows that moment when, you know, I think like Linkin Park is like a really good example where they like reinvent themselves so often, you know, and some people are like, I like the old Linkin Park, for example, or like the old version of whatever band, you know. It's like the new version I don't like, you know, and they moved on from an old style. And some people don't want to adapt to the new thing, and they just want to be like, I want to have the same feelings, the same whatever, and they don't want to adapt to the new thing.
You want to know my theory on that real quick?
Yeah.
My theory is this. You're an up-and-coming band.
Yeah.
And I was seeing you perform when there was 20 people here.
Yeah.
I was there when there was 20 people there, and you know, when you guys had on the too tight white shirts and the short jeans, and you guys was hanging out with us drinking beers after the show. I literally watched you grow from 20 fans to 100 to 500. I have that emotional connection with you. Then you become a worldwide phenomenon. Stadiums. I'm happy for you, but I don't feel as connected to you.
Yeah.
That's why, and then we are the way we're wired. We're revisionists of nostalgia. So a lot of times we connect with those first albums, because you got to think, if you're that band that was 19, I'm 16.
Yeah,
I have this connection with you. then 20 years later, you're 36, I'm 33. I'm in a different space than the music you're creating at this point. So either you're going to be a diehard fan through the whole time, or you're going to lose a connection with them because their artistic vision is changing, but you're also, you're a father now.
Yeah.
So what they're talking about might not be, I don't really like this album, because you're in a different space in life than when you were 16 and they were 19 and they were just smashing guitars and throwing the world. Now they're 36. Their show's a little more tighter.
Yeah.
They got gray hair now. They're a little different. You know what I mean? They got money now. Their show's a little different. It's more tighter. It's not as rambunctious as it was when you saw them 20 years ago. They're famous now. They're different.
Yeah.
And you might not connect with that as much as you did when you was 19. Either you're going to be a fan and grow with them, or you're just going to totally disconnect. So that's what I'm saying. And one last thing is like I always say, it's the Toy Story effect.
Okay. What does that mean, Toy Story effect?
I look at life like this. Toy Story 1 is the greatest part of life when it comes to being a hustler and a grinder, when it comes to anything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Me and you are Woody.
Yeah.
We've been around. I'm like that in wrestling. I've been around 9 years.
Yeah.
There's a Buzz Lightyear that pops up every day as the shiny new toy. Ooh, he can fly. He can do this. And you're Woody. You're like, I can do that. And you can't do that, but you end up becoming kind of jealous of Buzz Lightyear in a way, because jealousy is a natural emotion.
Yeah.
But then as Toy Story 2, 3, 4 happens, Buzz Lightyear becomes like everybody else. He's not the new toy anymore. Buzz Lightyear faces adversity. Buzz Lightyear and Woody are now friends because Buzz Lightyear is not the new toy. Everybody's used to Buzz now.
Yeah.
Him flying in the air doesn't really impress people no more. He has problems now. So now him and Woody, now he's just a part of the team. As in the first part, there's always a Buzz Lightyear. There's always a new guy. There's always a new car smell. There's always something new. But really, Woody is the foundation, because it's all built around him. But you just got to learn how to handle the Buzz Lightyears when it comes to creating content. Because there's a lot of Buzzes out here. Yeah. But there's not many Woodies at all.
Oof. You're hitting it hard. Gosh, I love that. Well, it marks like a long time now, and I think we have to have the people guessing and hanging, because we need to move on and being the new Buzz in a little bit.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man.
So where can people find you?
Yes, people can find me at TZ Jones on Instagram, Twitter. You guys can hit me up. You guys will hit me up at Monteasy on Facebook. Search me on Facebook. You guys can hit me up there. You guys can go to youtube.com/Swerecity podcast. That is where my TZ's Table podcast is, the Swerecity podcast from my brother Swerve. That's where all my music is uploaded now. That is where all my motivational content is. You guys can hit that up, subscribe to that page. You guys can go to my Bands in Town, my TikTok at Monteasy MTL. You guys can subscribe to everything that I have going on. There's a lot of great content, a lot of great things. Make sure you guys go to all distributive platforms and download the music. Show love, all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal. And hit me up, man. I'm approachable. I repost, I share, I comment back. I'm not Hollywood. I'll sit down and have. I can't drink no more, but I can eat lunch with you. You know what I mean? I'm a regular dude, man. So go ahead and
I love it.
Follow me and hit me up.
Yeah, so for everybody, thanks for watching the Create Before Consume podcast. This was Monteasy, and I hope you found that valuable. So hit the like button and share, and check his music out, because there's some banger stuff specifically for the motivational people out there, because that music keeps me going, gets me in the mood, like let's create some, let's make some music or videos in my case. And yeah, so